We want to get to that big breaking news that we've been following since last night. One Dallas police officer was killed and 2 others injured in an overnight shooting.
There are 2 scenes in this shooting, one at Fort Oak Cliff in Dallas, where the officers were shot, and another in Louisville, where the suspect was shot and killed by law enforcement. Right after 10 o'clock last night, DPD says officers responded to an officer in distress call on East Ledbetter Drive. Officer Darron Burks was shot. Police say 2 other officers arrived at the scene and exchanged gunfire with the suspect. They both were shot as well.
The suspect then led police on a chase that eventually ended in Louisville on Interstate 35E. That's where the suspect was fatally shot. Now, Officer Burks was taken in an ambulance to Methodist Dallas Medical Center, where sadly he was pronounced dead. The 2 other officers were taken to Baylor Scott and White in Dallas. Those officers are both expected to survive. And we are learning today that Officer Burks was beloved by so many.
First as a teacher and a basketball coach, then as a member of the Dallas Police Department. Our Janelle Fort is live in Dallas, and Janelle got to talk to some of his fraternity brothers about the kind of man Officer Burks was.
Well, yeah, Dia, if you're unfamiliar with Black Greek letter organization culture, in these orgs, you're typically given what's called a line name, a nickname, if you will. And Officer Burks's line brothers, or frat brothers, they told me that his was Pure Dog. They say that he was given that name because everything he did in life, he tried to do it the right way. They say he had a very calm demeanor. That only changed when he was strolling on the dance floor. Officer Burks just turned 46 years old this month. He wasn't married, he didn't have any kids, but instead his frat brothers told me he was a community servant and had been that way since they met him back in the early 2000s at Paul Quinn. They told me he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't even really say bad words, but instead was very into health and fitness. He spent years as a math teacher and a basketball coach, and when he no longer felt fulfilled doing that, his frat brothers say he told them he wanted to serve his community in a different capacity by going into law enforcement. They say they helped him and encouraged him to make that a reality, so what happened is really taking a toll on them, and they joined the many others who are mourning his death.
Yeah, it just lets you know the magnitude of lives that you can touch when you're a good person. That's what it exemplifies to me. And Burks was a great person, not only a good brother and a law enforcement officer that loved to serve the community, but he was a good person through and through, good person.
And of course, that's coming from those closest to him, but I want to share an interaction I had out here a little earlier to give a little bit more perspective. There was a woman that came out here to show her respects. She told me that she had met Officer Burks in passing in a store, and she's deaf. And she told me that when Officer Burks realized that, he inquired about sign language resources, saying that he wanted to go and seek them out so that he could better serve all of his community. Reporting here in Dallas, I'm Janelle Ford. Back to you.
Oh, Janelle, thank you so much for that. We'll continue to bring you live team coverage of the update from Police Chief Eddie Garcia that's set to happen at 5 o'clock in just a few minutes. We will also be at a vigil planned in Officer Burks' memory this evening. Stick with us here on air and online at WFAA.com. Make sure you also download our WFAA app.